fix that for you?
Oh, no, I'm all good.
Are you?
No, see, I'm out here wide.
Okay.
Dave's is the one that doesn't have the lanyard. Otherwise, we're going to grab another tape recorder. We've talked about it already.
So, all set?
Everybody ready?
Yep.
All right, Coach, turn it over to you.
All right, just wrapping up West Virginia. After watching the tape of that game, I don't think much changed since after the game was over. I mean, to win a game like that against a team of that caliber, you got to be well prepared. You got to go in with a good plan and compete at a high level and execute at a high level. And we did not execute anywhere close to a high enough level to even make that game competitive. And it really came down to two things. I mean, we turned the football over and gave them a short field, and we tackled poorly. We probably missed more tackles in that game than we had the first 4 games combined. Part of that is certainly due to the credit of West Virginia. They have some very talented, skilled athletes, and they got in space and made us miss. But fundamentally, we took a step backwards tackling. We're capable of tackling better than that. We've tackled better than that all season. We did some really poor things fundamentally that allowed 4 and 8 yard plays to become 20 and 30 yard plays. So we got to get back to playing defense the way we did the first 4 games, and and I'm confident we're going to do that. And offensively, it's very easy to point out that our 2 losses, we've turned the ball over 10 times. So we've turned it over this year 16 times. In 2 losses, it's been 10, and the other 3 games that we won, it's been a total of 6. And it's not just on offense. We have 3 special teams turnovers. So we got to do a good job across the board of taking better care of the football. And our team knows that, and we're continuing to address it in practice and in drills and emphasizing it. But we've got to carry that to Saturday. And then looking ahead to Western Michigan. We're excited to get back into MAC play. It's nice to be 1-0 in the league and to head up to Western Michigan. But I think right now we're playing, at Western Michigan, probably one of the most complete teams in the conference this year. Their record is a little misleading. They're 3-2, but the 2 losses to Illinois and Michigan. The Illinois game was very competitive. They just beat Connecticut on the road. And right now, their offense is just a well-oiled machine. I mean, they are executing at such a high level. The quarterback, Carter, might be playing as well as any quarterback in the country right now. Certainly the receiver, Jordan White, is an elite player. He could play anywhere in the country. I think he'll be playing on Sundays next year. And it's not just him. They have a collection of receivers. I think their depth at the receiver position, if you go from 1 to 5 and 6, might be as deep as anybody in the conference. And again, we haven't played everybody yet, but it's not like you can just say, hey, you got to cover Jordan White, nobody else can hurt you. Ravenel, Inheim, those guys are all very, very skilled players. Ponder is a speed guy that they run the speed sweep with and reverses with, and they'll throw the ball deep too. And again, when you have a quarterback, the timing of their passing game I'd enjoy watching it if we didn't have to play them, because they're really, they are pitching and catching right now at such a high level. And it's going to take a great effort on defense to slow these guys down. And then I think defensively, Western Michigan is very much improved. It's their 2nd year in a new system with a new coordinator. He's very aggressive. I think he has them playing extremely hard. They're a little bit younger on defense, but he has them playing a very aggressive style, and they're running to the football and they're pursuing well. I think they're more athletic, and I really like what they do on defense. And then, the special teams piece of it. Right now these guys are setting the standard in the conference for special teams. And they have good players. They have an excellent kicker. They have good specialists, but they're also, it's obvious they invest time in special teams. It's extremely well coached. Their kickoff return is very well coached. Guys stay on blocks. they're in the top 4 in every category in the conference, and it's not an accident. They're very well coached on special teams. So when you put what they're doing on offense with what you're doing on defense and special teams, we're playing a very complete football team.
Dave, if you would start a little bit with that special teams. Obviously, your special teams aren't on the field for an exorbitant number of plays, but will you talk about the value of those special teams especially when they're playing well like Western?
Well, the special teams really controls the field position. So, in a typical game on offense, you're probably going to play somewhere around between 65 and 80 snaps, the same on defense, and your special teams is usually going to be somewhere in the low 30s, maybe upper 30s. So percentage-wise, it's probably 20% of the game. But every special teams play involves a major shift in field position, or you're scoring points. And we all the time show the breakdown of our players, that your odds and your chances of scoring based on field position. And I think this year we've done a pretty good job of winning that battle. Even in West Virginia, one of the bright spots was we got our kickoff return game going a little bit. Boo Boo hit some creases there. And we've done a better job this year of winning the field position game, but Western's done a great job with it. And they make you go a long field, and they give themselves a short field. So that is a critical battle that we need to win this week. That we need to be able to match up with their special teams and not let any of their kickoff returns break out and give them short fields. And we've got to hold our own and win that field position battle. These guys are good on offense, and we cannot give them a short field. So that part of this game is going to be very important.
You mentioned tackling problems at the beginning against West Virginia. Did you do anything different this week in practice so far to address that, or just verbally communicated it and looked at film?
Well, we've emphasized it all year. I think last year as a whole, we didn't tackle well. And it was a major point of emphasis all spring, all camp. Jack, the bottom line is that you can work on that stuff, but certain guys have a knack for it. Generally, the more athletic and better you are, the better you're going to tackle. And that's why I say that, we have some guys on our defense now, Boo Boo who's here, and Ryland Ward, and Dwayne Woods, and Aaron Foster, and these guys are pretty good tacklers. But sometimes when you get, there's really 2 problems in West Virginia. Number one, that we did not do as good a job up front getting off of blocks, and so what happens is you create more space. And now when you have to make open field tackles in more space against better athletes, the problem just gets compounded. The job of the guys up front is to get off of blocks and to make the creases tight, so that the free hitter and the linebackers in the second and third level have tight alleys to fill. And we've been doing a pretty good job of that on defense through the first 4 games. We have not missed a lot of tackles. We've tackled at a very high percentage. In West Virginia, the creases and the size of the holes got bigger, and now you're trying to tackle guys that are a little faster, a little quicker, a little more skilled. And the bottom line is we've got to rise up and get those guys on the ground, and we didn't. We've made a big point this whole week about, and it's no different every week, but I think when you struggle at something, it rings a little true with the players of, listen, this is important. Wrap them up, get your head across, keep your eyes up, chest to chest, all those things that we coach every play of every practice. I think it takes on a little bit more meaning when you miss as many tackles as we did a week ago. But we're much more athletic in the secondary and in the second level, and overall we've done a better job.
Dave, do you mind sharing what's a good hitting percentage on tackles?
Our tackling, we shoot every week. Our goal is 90%. And last week I think we were, what were we, Boo Boo? Around 72. And almost every other game we've been in the high 80s, 90s. So that's a goal every week, just about every week that we have, and I would say almost every week we've been close to that. This week we weren't close to it. And again, I give hats off to West Virginia. They had good players, but it shouldn't have been that low. You know, a lot of that was on us.
If we could talk a little bit about the turnovers, Dave, how, especially the offensive turnovers, how do you characterize them? I mean, is it guys trying to make a play that's not there?
I thought,
not secure? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think each one is a little bit individual.
Right.
Okay, so if you just want to talk about the West Virginia game, you know, the first one was Boo Boo trying to make a play, and he knows better, and Boo Boo's good with the football, and we trust him. But you know, he was amped up and was thinking big things, and broke that first one, and didn't put it away the way he needs to. And credit to him, he came back the next one and took it back to the 20. You know, those things aren't going to affect his confidence. And then we threw 3 interceptions. The one I have no issue with. The one was on a 4th down, deep in their red zone. I'd rather have an interception there than a sack. On 4th down, you're going for it at the end of the half. There's 15 seconds left. Go ahead and take a chance and throw it up there. And really, if they were smart, they would have knocked it down and got better field position. The other 2 picks were bad interceptions. Trying to force a play when a play wasn't there. Trying to force a play into coverage. They were bad picks. And not that there's ever a good pick, but sometimes a ball will get tipped, or it'll go off a guy's hand, or you know, maybe it's a hair behind and the defensive back makes a great play. 2 of the picks in the West Virginia game were bad interceptions. The long ball to Kamar and the sprint out pass to Adrian on the sidelines. That was just trying to force and make a big play when a play wasn't there.
Was that kind of a trend that we've seen through the first 5 games, or how would you generally characterize the turnovers from the previous games?
You have the, you know, to me, you have the fumbles, and the fumbles are, I think, backs trying to make a play and get extra yardage, and sacrificing ball security to do that when that can never happen. And you know, I think for the most part, you know, Matt has taken good care of the ball until the West Virginia game. You know, the pick against Miami was a kind of a little bit of a fluke play that the ball got tipped. It was a screen. He should have thrown it on the ground. But that was his only pick in that game. And then, you know, some of the other ones have been good defensive plays. You know, but that game, it just really stuck out to me that we were trying to force something that clearly wasn't there. And you can't do that against anybody, let alone a Big East team like West Virginia. You know, they'll make you pay.
And Western this week and the teams in the weeks that follow probably pretty much fit that same mode, do they not?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, we're about to play a bunch of very, very athletic teams. So, you know, this conference, I think this year is, I think it's overall much improved from a year ago. You know, I think last year there was the ability of a team to maybe sneak up, and I think this year, overall, our conference, there's some very good, very solid football teams. And our goal when the year's over is that we're one of those teams. And that's why this week's game is critical. If we want to be in that discussion among the elite and better teams in the conference, you know, you have to be able to go on the road and beat good teams away. And that's what makes this week such a great challenge and something we're really looking forward to.
You mentioned this week's a challenge, but how much of a grind have the last 3 weeks been with not playing at home at all?
You know the schedule. I mean, I always think sometimes when you play a lot of games on the road early, there's a party in the back of your mind that says this is really going to help you on the back end. You know, I think early in the season, guys are fresher. You almost don't mind going on the road as much. I think these trips become harder, you know, in late October, November. So I always, you know, take the positive on it. So, you know, we like playing on the road. We like playing at home. We prefer playing at home. We prefer playing in front of our own fans. But what we want to do is play well enough so when we have those home games in October and November, we're still playing for something. And that's the goal, is you need to get to November and still have, you know, still be able to play for the MAC East and to play to get to a bowl game. And for that to happen, we're going to have to play well in October so November has meaning.
Dave, will you talk a little bit about your, and I would rather you characterize it than I, your friendship with the D coordinator at Western?
It might be it's probably one of the best friends I have in coaching. At my first job as a graduate assistant at the University of Albany back in 1989, there was a bunch of us that GA'd together, that we shared a house, and just a great guy that we've helped each other along in our career. I was in his wedding, he was in my wedding. He was my defensive coordinator at Fordham for my first head coaching job, and did an unbelievable job for us. I don't know at Fordham if we would have turned that program around if he wasn't there. He did just such a great job recruiting, such a great job running the defense. He's a great friend. So, ironically, this is my 23rd year coaching. 4 years, we've been on the same staff together, but in those other 19 years, our teams have competed 11 times. So it's, he's a guy I talk to a lot during the season, but the phone calls this week aren't as frequent.
In all seriousness, how do you approach a game like that, knowing it's A, a good friend, B, a guy who I would think you know pretty well in terms of tendencies, but you also know he knows you pretty well, or assume he does?
Yeah, I think you focus on the opponent. You focus on what they do and how they're doing it and why they're doing it, and you attack the schemes and you attack the personnel, and you take the personalities out of it. So, we're good friends today. We'll be good friends on Sunday. We won't be good friends on Saturday. So.
But you don't try to use what you already know about him to your advantage?
Are you kidding me? Of course we do. So, we went against each other every day in practice for 3 years. But he's, what we've done, we've evolved and we've changed, and he's evolved and he's changed. And I think what he's done a great job of this year is there's a certain defensive style and structure that he likes to play, and because of their personnel, he's adjusted it this year. And I think that's a sign of a good coach, is that you don't just have this cookie cutter way of doing things. Especially when you coach in a conference like the MAC, you need to be able to take good players and be flexible with your systems to get the most out of them. And that's what he's doing. He's young at linebacker, and there's times he'll put 8 defensive backs on the field. And he's maximizing what they have and their personnel and their speed. So I have great respect for him. He's a super defensive coach. They have played much better defense since he's been there, and he'll continue to make them better. But yeah, I know tendencies and things, and we share that, but he also knows things that we like to do, and that's what makes this game so much fun to coach. That's the kind of the chess match within the game.
You guys got anything else? Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.